Welcome to I, James Dobson, where we transform whiskey and trauma into piss and trauma.
Have you done that one before?
No.
That was a good one.
Thank you.
That would be a good alternate name for this podcast.
Whiskey and trauma?
Yeah. I want you to know as the theme song comes in that I've written some lyrics to the theme song, and they go like this.
Okay.
I hate James Dobson. I hate James Dobson. I hate James Dobson. I hate him so much. So everyone sing along as the lyrics come in right, or the song comes in right now. I hate James Dobson. I hate James Dobson. I hate James Dobson. I hate him so much.
Welcome to I Hate James Dobson. My name is Jake. I'm a former evangelical turned queer sex therapist. There once was a co-host named Brooke, whose brains came from more than just books. She was witty and smart, her words were her art, and with her hot takes, oh boy did she cook.
Jacob!
Hi, Brooke.
Hi! Oh my God, you love me so much.
I do. I am your biggest fan.
You really are my biggest fan. I'm really not looking forward to the day you discover I'm just an old nerd, totally disillusioned.
See, I know that about you, and that's why I love you.
Okay, fair.
Brooke, how are you?
I'm super great. How are you?
I'm doing well. This episode comes out on May 25th.
Okay.
Which means that we just wrapped up the weekend of International Mr. Leather here in Chicago.
Did you have fun?
I had a great time.
Did you win?
You could not pay me to compete. Respect to people who do. Oh boy, that is not my gig. Do you attend? Do you enjoy the festivities?
I do not attend, but I do enjoy seeing everyone having a wonderful time around the city in their leather.
Mm-hmm.
And that's great. I find leather to be heavy and a little hot.
Correct.
So I'm not really a leather daddy.
I think everyone who wears leather will agree with that assessment.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I will have gone to high tea at Marshall Fields by the time.
Whoa.
Yes, and I said Marshall Fields because it's Macy's now, but they have one part of it that they've kept the Marshall Fields tea.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to be wearing my dress with the china plates all over it.
That's incredible. Are you going with people?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. I have some friends. And I almost sang a song that we don't have the rights to.
The I have friends. Definitely have.
Yeah. So we're going to have fun. We're going to get some tea. I'm going to wear my Rachel Antonoff dress that I love, that I bought last year, and it has giant plates all over it. And I just feel like you can't take something like high tea too seriously. So you have to dress like the 7th floor of Marshall Fields when you go to Marshall Fields.
Incredible. It is camp.
Yeah, and so am I. So there we go.
I love that.
Thank you.
I will get married in less than a year from now.
Oh my God, that's so good. I have been really irritated by how far away this is. So that when it gets into a year away, I'm going to feel a lot better.
Cool. May 16th.
I know, it's in my new planner, my fresh new planner.
Incredible.
It's one of the first things I put in there, and I put it with a heart. And I wrote it because I wanted to be formal about the wedding, so I wrote Jake and Beep's wedding with boyfriend's actual name. And now every time I page for my planner and I see it, I'm like, who? I'm like, who is that? Oh, you know what I found in the back of my freezer that made me think of boyfriend?
When I think of my fiance, I also think the back of the freezer. Please. It was.
I promise it's going to be so nice. Not like rancid old meat. The blue carousel.
I knew it.
I dumped it. I was like, when am I ever going to use this again? It's been in my freezer for like 2 years now.
This month's Patreon post will be a curated cocktail menu curated by boyfriend.
Amazing.
One being the gin and Dobson.
Yes.
Made as unpleasant as possible. And ones you will actually want to drink as well. And we'll also have some non-alcoholic options in there for you. But
right.
Yeah, boyfriend is...
How is the Patreon? Is it good? Do you post anything?
I think the Patreon's good. As a recording, we just did a live stream where we ranked all of Dobson's books in a tier list, all the ones that we've read.
That was fun.
That was a good time. If you want to check it out, check out our Patreon, patreon.com/IHateJamesDobson.
Do we have any new merch?
Editing Jake, we recorded this like a month ago at this point, so my answer then is not super accurate. But I am pleased to announce that yes, Brooke, yes, we do have new merch. The capstone of this new merch drop to me is a bandana collar for your pets proclaiming their hate for James Dobson. I'm sure Siggy the Dachshund would wear one if he was still with us, R.I.P. We also have new designs like Cry Die Hate, as well as an updated I Hate James Dobson t-shirt. Check it out at IHateJamesDobson.com.
Any other small talk we need to do before we jump into whatever fresh hell this will be?
No, this is very much reheated hell.
Oh, great.
Today, we are concluding our episodes on Dobson's Focus on the Family Film series.
Or we could, I don't know, do anything else.
I put down building a glass dome, aka Wit's End in Minecraft, to come here and record this.
Okay.
So far, we have talked about the movies for The Strong-Willed Child in 2 parts. Christian Fathering, the only one that's 1 part for whatever reason.
But it has an amazing song.
This song.
And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon.
Preparing for Adolescence in 2 parts. And today we conclude with the final 2 videos, which again are just 1 video split into 2 parts kind of awkwardly. Because 90 minutes is too long to watch at once, or maybe just for the money. Probably just for the money.
I already know what it is.
You do. We've
what
talked
a
about
girl wants, what a girl needs, whatever makes you happy. Get on your knees. Are those the lyrics?
What wives wish their husbands knew about
Whatever
women.
wives wish their husbands were knowing about women.
We've talked about spanking dads and jerking it. Today it's time for one last ride. Brooke and readers, it is my great dishonor to set the stage for What Wives Wish Their Husbands Knew About Women, the movie.
Yes, the movie. Wait, I'm sorry. Because I know we have so much to do, but what if this was an actual movie? Like Meryl Streep. I want to write this.
What would be the plot of What Wives Wish Their Husbands Knew? It's such a cumbersome name, and there's no way to shorten it other than What Wives Wish. What would you...
I don't know yet. I'm going to have to think about it, but I want it to be like very like Desperate Housewives.
Ooh.
Yeah.
The real things that wives wish their husbands knew about women was the friends who meet along the way.
The Real Housewives of who wish their husbands knew what they wanted women to do. Yeah.
This book... we covered in episodes 3 and 4 of this show.
Oh my God, we did?
It was the second book we ever covered. Brooke, what do you remember about the masterpiece that is What Wives Wish Their Husbands Knew About Women?
I remember there were, like, this was still when I was getting into all of this and understanding it. I was still so fresh and naive and life was worth living. Hopes were high and life worth living. But I remember there was a list.
Yes.
Of all the things that annoy wives the most.
Correct.
And I want to see if I can get it. There
Yes.
was 8 things. Is that right?
There were 10 things.
10 things. All right. I remember there was like finances.
Yep.
In-laws.
Yep.
Like periods. Mm-hmm. He probably calls it like the menstrual cycle.
Menstrual and physiological problems. Yeah.
Okay. Like shopping. Was that one of them?
We'll put that in financial difficulties.
Okay, financial. Child rearing, having children.
Problems with children.
Problems with children. What do I have? 4?
Yes.
Oh, I can do this. Boredom.
Yep. Loneliness, isolation, and boredom.
Yep. Oh, I'm doing good.
You're doing incredible.
Like the meaningless existential view of life that comes with having no value as a woman.
Low self-esteem.
Great. Wait, I can really do this.
I am so impressed.
There's 4 more.
Yeah.
How to cook a wonderful chicken Kiev for your man. Or a Jell-O mold.
That gets close, but it's not quite.
Like, like household duties.
Fatigue and time pressure.
Fatigue and time pressure. Yep. What do I need? 3 more?
Yep.
Aging.
Aging is 1.
And is it like menopause?
That's with menstrual and physiological problems.
Okay. Aging. Is there something about attractiveness And beauty, is there something like that?
It gets into like low self-esteem.
Okay. 2 more?
Mm-hmm.
Give me a hint.
You are close with the Jell-O molds.
Cooking. Keeping up with the Joneses.
Why does a woman create a Jell-O mold?
An age-old question. Oh, because she is entertaining the husband's work.
The two that you were missing.
Hosting.
These are, I think, obvious ones that you'll be like, oh, of course, I can't believe I missed that. Absence of romantic love in my marriage.
Oh, yeah, obviously.
She makes Jell-O to make him love her.
Okay.
And sexual problems.
Oh, I forgot that we would even go there.
Mm-hmm.
Breast to mouth.
You got 8 out of 10.
Yay!
I am very impressed and also hate that for you.
It's like you've done something to my brain.
Well, at least I got you whiskey. So
Yeah, you did.
The main criticism we had of the book and that we have of this movie, because they're basically the same thing, is Dobson can recite the things he's been told are painful by women/wives, but he's unable to understand their causes in any meaningful way because he thinks their causes are good. He fundamentally wants a deeply patriarchal, misogynistic system. He thinks the hyper-individualism of capitalism is good and that collectivism is socialist and bad. So things like, for instance, financial difficulties can boil down to just stop shopping so much, stop being so materialistic.
Can I tell you a cute thing about yourself?
Please.
You do air quotes backwards.
What do you mean?
I've noticed it before.
What does backwards mean?
You do this.
Oh. Huh. Editing Jake here, this is a visual gag, I guess. If you're looking at air quotes, I have the bunny rabbits facing me instead of facing away from me, if that makes sense. This is absurd. Part 1 of the script is a quick rundown of the points here. If you want a full dissection, go check out our original episodes on this, episodes 3 and 4. But we're going to go through the top 10 list in order. What Dobson said is the most to least important. By the way, this was a list that Dobson just like made up and then asked people to put rankings on. So it's completely arbitrary. At one point he says like, it's not scientific. Dobson doesn't use that word correctly. He talks about things being scientific or not wrongly. It isn't scientific. He's right here. Anyway, just know that this entire list is just things he pulled out of his butt.
Also, just know that every list and everything he says is not scientific.
True, that's fair. Number 1, low self-esteem. Dobson blames this on feminism.
Sure.
And to our first clip.
Making women feel like they have rights is notoriously the cause of low self-esteem.
I think there's another element to the depression related to low self-esteem, and it has something to do with a basic difference between men and women. Let me go to a comment about the women's liberation movement. There are many aspects of the women's liberation movement that I think are very healthy. I think it's called attention to the needs of women in some ways that probably needed to be specified or spotlighted. But the least acceptable tenet of the women's liberation movement to me is the notion, sold rather vigorously at this time, that males and females are identical except for the ability to bear children. Folks, that is nonsense. We are not identical. We are different in incalculable ways. We are different anatomically, obviously. We are different emotionally in many ways. One has a menstrual cycle, the other does not. That influences behavior. It influences energy level through the month. We're different sexually. We talked about that before, and I'll talk about it again in a minute. We're different biochemically. We're different in so many ways socially. Part of the difference is cultural, I'm sure of that, but much of it has a genetic origin. We are different beings. God created us male and female, not one sex, but two. Did you know that research shows that if you go onto a high school campus or a college campus, right out there, and you look around at the students there, male and female, without telling them what you're examining, that the females will be carrying their books in a different way than the males. The males, the boys, the men tend to carry their books under one arm like this at their sides. The girls tend to cradle them to their breasts in much the same way they would a baby.
No, wrong. First of all, it's not the 50s and no one's carrying their book-strapped books anymore. Second of all, I talked about this, I remember, way back in episode 3.
Uh-huh.
Teenage girls are trying to cover their boobies when they carry their books like that because they don't want to be ogled by teenage boys. So that's part of what's going on there. Second of all, that doesn't even happen. Everyone has a backpack. Boys carry their books on their chest. Girls carry their books under their arms. What are you talking about?
It's such a weird thing to point to be like, men and women are so different. Women do this, men do this.
Women carry a book like this? I just remembered how angry this made me before. Now I'm in a grumpy mood. He's such a ding-dong.
Famously, 2 X chromosomes means you hold books differently. He says research says this. You can't hold your books by your tits anymore because of woke. I can't remember if I included in this clip. This clip was longer at first. And at one point he says something like, the difference is biological and cultural, but I kind of don't care which one it is. I care. I think it's important. In part just because cultural norms change. And we have agency over that. We individually cannot like make social norms change any given way. But like collectively, if we decide it's important for women to have autonomy over their bodies, then all of a sudden that can be a thing that we shift the mores towards. What a weird fucking guy. Also, in Low Self-Esteem, he goes on about how depression is rising among women because the cultural denigration of housewives, that we don't appreciate the stay-at-home moms, and that is also a result of feminism, and that's bad. That's why women have low self-esteem, Dobson says.
I hate him so much. Also, they're not holding their books like that because they're cradling a baby. Also, here's the truly, men and women are different, but not in the ways that he's talking about.
Correct.
Right? And I think that's sort of like the newer waves of feminism that are like, okay, so I get that like it's the 70s, it's the 80s here.
Yeah, it's the 70s, 78.
So there is this kind of sense of like women can do whatever a man can do is what feminism is trying to say at this time in history, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going to give a little leeway for like progress that hasn't happened at this point. But like even at this point, that is not what they're saying. They're not saying we're anatomically identical. They're saying that we should be treated with identical amounts of respect and dignity as human people.
Yes.
I hate him so much.
And while there are differences between men and women, one, it depends on how we define those categories.
That's right.
And two, often those differences are overblown, right? Like in general, people who have a testosterone dominant system do tend to have stronger muscles. That's fair. They are not 2 separate curves on a graph. They're overlapping curves with a pretty good deal of overlap, actually. Enough to be meaningfully different, but not like 2 whole worlds apart, right? That's why women can be in physically intensive jobs like being a steel worker or whatever. Like that's fine. Not everyone wants to. Not every man wants to. I don't want to do that. I'm a little sissy. Let me be in my therapy chair talking about feelings all day, right?
I'm a little sissy.
Number 2, fatigue and time pressure. Being a mom is hard work. Dobson knows all about it.
Sometimes we husbands, I include myself in this, are not aware of how exhausting small children can be. I'd make a great politician. I probably would not be aware of that fact. In fact, there was a time in my life when I wasn't aware of that fact. But I had an experience that brought me into an understanding. In 1973, when Shirley and I went to Vail, Colorado, I was responsible for a medical conference that was to start there that day with 100 doctors, and I had all that pressure and everything, and Shirley selected that day to break her leg. And we finally got home, and I had an opportunity because of that. I took off work, and I had a chance for about 2 weeks to do her thing. And believe me, I found out a whole lot about the color of the grass on the other side of the fence during that time. It not only wasn't any greener, it wasn't even edible. Ryan was 2 years of age then, and Danae was 7, and Ryan was a full-blown toddler by then. And the first morning on the job, 6 a.m., he woke me up screaming. And I don't wake up easily in the morning. I didn't this morning, and I didn't in that morning. And I got up, and I'd had all that trouble getting Shirley home, and I was exhausted, and it was 6 a.m., and I didn't know where I was, and he's yelling from the other side of the house. And I literally felt my way across the house to his room. The door was shut. He was still crying. When I got there, I pushed open the door, and immediately the crying stopped. And a cheery little voice said, "Is breakfast ready?" I said, "I'm doing the best I can, Ryan." So I went into the kitchen to try to get the kids something palatable to eat. And I was standing there staring into the cabinets, hoping something quick and easy would tumble out. And I wanted to just get back in bed before I got waked up, you know. And Ryan crawled down from his crib, and he followed me into the kitchen. And at that time, he was talking 1,000 miles an hour, and he just loves to talk. And folks, the last thing I needed on that morning was conversation with a toddler. You ever felt like that? I just didn't feel like I could talk to that kid. And he could ask 1,000 questions an hour. He knows no limit to the number of questions. I mean, it's infinite. He asked his mother one day, said, "Mom," "What, Ryan?" "Do worms yawn?" He was asking me those kinds of questions, and he was saying, "Are we having bacon?" And "Why isn't the milk poured?" And "Is it almost ready?" And I was ignoring him. I just didn't feel like talking to him. I had a headache, and I was just looking up in those cabinets, and he must have asked me 12 or 14 questions that didn't get an answer. And then I tuned in on him just in time to hear him grow exasperated, and he folded his little arms and he said, "I am getting so tired of you." So what's a mother to do, folks? I don't know. I told Shirley if she would just come back to work that I'd rise up and call her blessed. But I learned during that time something of what it's like to take care of a house and a couple of kids, and it is pretty exhausting. And this is a matter of considerable tension, I think, between men and women, having to do with this fatigue factor.
My favorite line is, "What's a mother to do?" referring to himself. I do think that is funny.
I feel like this is a stage for James Dobson's failed stand-up comedy career.
Yes.
You know?
Oh boy, we'll get to that because that is a big part of this video, actually. It is true that raising kids, whether you are a stay-at-home parent or working in daycare or a grandparent or whatever, that is a lot. That is a full-time job. That's a big argument for things like universal basic income or something, because people, even while they're quote-unquote not working, they're still doing a lot of labor. It's incredible to me that Dobson treats this like some crazy revelation that he has unique insight into, because he took not even 2 weeks to stay at home with his own kids. It also is yet another proof point in my theory that James Dobson doesn't actually like kids.
Yeah.
Do worms yawn is a weird but also really cool question.
Yeah.
Childlike curiosity is a magical gift. I can understand being frustrated about it when you're sleepy, sure, but like, it's a cool question. And for the record, no, they don't. Worms breathe through their skin, so yawning isn't really a thing that's possible for them.
Oh, that's cute that you looked that up. Did I ever tell you that one time I told my nephew if he ever had any questions, he could ask me anything in the whole world? I was trying to be the best aunt ever. I was really kind of talking about his divorced parents. But he said, "Yeah, I have a question, Aunt B," which is what they call me. He got all serious and he said, "How do electric eels light up underwater if there's no electricity?" Which I thought was a very smart question.
That's a good question. You have told me this before, because I remember going to the aquarium somewhat recently, and they had a whole thing about electric eels.
They did?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I should get that. I should go look at that. Well, I'm so sad that he had to be a dad for 2 whole weeks. That sucks.
I cut it from the script because it felt kind of meandering, but there's a whole lot in this video where Dobson talks about all the sacrifices he's made for his kids. He delayed the publishing of The Strong-Willed Child originally a whole year so that he could take some time off to spend time with his kids. I think that's brave.
Take some time off to spank his kids?
No, just to spend time with them. He doesn't talk really about spanking his own kids.
Yeah, I wondered about that.
That's the thing that I noticed in all of this, of all the anecdotes he tells about his kids, he doesn't mention that he had strong-willed kids. He doesn't really mention them behaving poorly outside of one story when Danae was like 15 months old and she crawled onto a floor that her mom told her not to. That's the one story that I found that he's like, this is a time our kids disobeyed us.
Pause. What the fuck name is Danae?
Okay, I find it hilarious that you're like, I kind of thought you were wrong. I thought I was wrong for a while too. Like, for a while I was calling her Diane in my head.
I had a feeling it was Deanne
Mm.
or like Deanna or something, and that you were having a little like dyslexic moment, and I didn't want to.
Which is known to happen.
Yeah, and I'm only going to call you out on things when they're really, really cute, like your backwards air quotes. But yeah, he just said Danae. That's really the name.
Yes.
Oh, the other thing I wanted to do was look up Ryan Dobson. Ew. Have you ever seen Ryan Dobson's wife? She's tatted up.
Interesting. Oh, yeah, look at that.
He has a book called Be Intolerant.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, are we going to do an episode about him?
We're doing an episode on the kids, yes.
Okay, great. Then I won't get too far.
He's 56 years old. I don't feel that bad. They are technically Dobson kids. They are not kids.
They're not children.
Yeah.
No. Oh, Danae Dobson. Oh, she looks like Shirley. She began her writing career at the age of 12. Yeah, me too, Danae. I got distracted by looking at Dobson's strong-willed children.
Number 3 and 4 on this list, isolation, loneliness, and boredom, and absence of romantic love in my marriage ranked the same in Dobson's surveys, I guess. He talks about these together. He bemoans the fact that there aren't support groups, I guess, for women like there used to be. Support groups is probably too modern of a term. Dobson talks about how in the good old days, all the women would go down to the creek and wash all their laundry together and talk about what it means to be a woman, and they don't have that support anymore. Again, Dobson doesn't talk about why this is. Like, it is true that at this time and in modern times, women are lonely, people are lonely, but he doesn't investigate why. He just notes that it is, because naming the problem, kind of, ignores the cause. The cause is hyper-individualism, largely as a product of capitalism and destruction of third spaces. Can't have that critique, therefore, women be lonely. Number 5, financial difficulties. We mentioned this already, but his whole thing is a very individualistic critique. Stop spending so much money, don't be so materialistic, and not the pressures of capitalism. Number 6, sexual problems. He connects it to fatigue and time pressure, as well as absence of romantic love. I think it's very biocentralist here. Women need emotional connection in sex. Men just need a hole.
Oh, Jake.
That's basically what he's saying. He phrases it as men are visually oriented, women are emotionally oriented. And he says women aren't having satisfying sex because their husbands aren't putting in the work to making a fulfilling relationship. Which is a real problem, but I don't know. It feels very weird and limited, and also don't listen to Dobson for sex advice.
Everybody read Come As You Are.
Yes.
By the author whose name is
Emily Nagoski.
Because it's really good.
It is really good.
And it talks a lot about people
Yes.
having different sex drives and different needs when it comes to sex or desires or interests. And they are not necessarily gendered.
And we have different sexual needs just as people.
Right.
I've said before on the show, the kind of sex that you have with your husband is very different from the kind of sex you have with a stranger at a bathhouse.
Right.
If you need more of that romantic, emotional component in a sex with a long-term partner, great, work on that. Whatever.
The kind of sex that you have with a human is different than the sex that you have with a High Lord bat fairy, for instance.
I had no idea where that sentence was going. Number, what is this, 6, 7? I lost count. Menstrual and physiological problems.
Women be bleeding.
Oh my God. He says, somewhat correctly, that women's self-esteem is correlated with estrogen levels, which fluctuates throughout the month in relation to their menstrual cycle. He also talks about menopause and says that some women might benefit from estrogen supplements, which is true. That's also a type of hormone replacement therapy, which when we mentioned this in our live stream, our chat had a great field day to be like, you're HRT for me, but not for thee, which is correct. And then the final 3, I'm just going to show you the full clip of how Dobson talks about them, because I think it's worthwhile.
Can't wait.
Number 8, I'm not going to put the rest on the board. Number 8 is problems with the children, unless you happen to have one, and then it's a little higher. Number 9 is in-law difficulties. Number 10, aging.
I guess those aren't that important. I'm not even going to put them on the board.
That is all that he says about those 3 things.
We've talked about, just because this is the version with the video, we've talked about this chalkboard before. But I really want to set an image for people who are just listening that this is a gigantic chalkboard, like bigger than the one you'd have in a classroom. And he has learned how to write from his best friend, Ted Bundy. And his giant serial killing scrolls on this chalkboard. Now he can't put the rest of his list up there. So what was the point of having it at all? It's so dumb. And then those 3 things just get the number 9, problems with in-laws. Number 10,
and also doesn't talk about aging. In the book, there's a chapter for each of these problems, except for problems with in-laws. And I find it so funny that in both pieces of media.
God, this is your list, buddy. You got to talk about it.
Also, this is not the first time in this video series where Dobson's made a list of talking points and then runs out of time to get through all of his own list. He's so bad at just presenting things.
He's so bad at everything. Can't even give a speech on his own thing. Number 10, aging.
We'll talk about why in a moment, because there's a very specific reason why he runs out of time.
Oh, there is?
Yes. The last point in this video, right after he says aging, is he talks about, quote, living the straight life, which I'm now saying I'm doing backwards. Living the straight life, I hate that. Means paying bills, taking care of your kids, etc., doing the regular work of life. Dobson says people leave the straight life to pursue short-term pleasure and excitement. But eventually, that excitement becomes the new normal, right? You leave your wife to go have an affair with your hot secretary, but eventually when you marry that secretary, she becomes your wife and you leave her for the next one, whatever.
Circle of life.
Yes. The best way to avoid this is to make sure that your current life and relationship is one that fosters those needs that you're leaving elsewhere. He has 4 that he names: excitement, pleasure, sex, and ego needs. People want to be told you're hot and smart and handsome, and I want to hear everything that you say. Which, it's decent advice, I suppose. It's not really about women or wives.
Yeah.
So that's a rundown of the book and of the movie and the arguments. My main takeaway from the content here, again, is similar to that of the book, because this is just a sloppier version of the book. While Dobson heard women talk about their problems, he consistently incorrectly assigns fault. It's not a huge focus of our episode today, but it's worth a small detour. This is really sexist.
Yeah.
Perhaps obviously, but for instance, the way that he used women and wives interchangeably is pretty telling. That's a note that we made last time, but to expand on it a little bit, Dobson's very strict, narrow definition of a family to mean a nuclear family leaves so many people out. At times, Dobson will pay lip service to those who don't have kids, but he never actually meaningfully talks about them. People, women who never have kids or have been married, are still part of families. Mm-hmm. In fact, they can be vital parts of families. I have an aunt who is unmarried and without kids by choice, and she's an amazing and incredibly important part of our family.
And my nephews also have an aunt like that.
Yes, I will get married, but I don't plan on having kids, and I don't think the likelihood of that happening is incredibly low.
Wait, you and boyfriend would have cute babies together, though.
Not only does Dobson reduce woman to wife, but anyone who doesn't fit in his model gets no consideration. There's not a book on how to be a good aunt or uncle, or your responsibilities as a cousin. They're just not part of this world that Dobson
creates. Or just
creates.
as a woman in the world, married or not.
Correct.
Like, it's not what women want men to know or what women want people to know. Mm-hmm. It's wives.
Mm-hmm. And wives specifically as moms, especially stay-at-home moms, right? Like, it's this increasingly narrow definition of what he's talking about, as if wives who aren't stay-at-home moms don't also have concerns.
I would be really interested for, I guess, women specifically who are listening to this podcast, or people who identify as women, to write what your actual list, your top 10 list of concerns as you walk through the world are. Mm-hmm. I think some of these could be on there in maybe a different way, But I also think there would be a lot of things that Dobson for sure did not consider that have a lot more to do with the behaviors of men that would require men taking some accountability, right?
At no point in any of these does the fact that men can be abusive in relationships.
Right.
Or men have unreal expectations of women. Like, that doesn't really...
Yeah, like I think if you asked women today or in the 80s, wives or not, what their top 10 biggest concerns were. What is it? Concerns or...
I forget the exact phrasing of it. These are just like the top 10 issues women report in counseling.
Yeah, I mean, I guess this list is about in marriage, maybe? Is that the thing?
So he's theoretically a marriage and family expert.
Then I would say, like, I would assume, although this is not science, and I haven't done any research, that exactly, like, abuse would be one of them, or potential for abuse. Certainly, if you're just talking to women about their concerns in the world, I think most women would probably have, like, danger of men on their list, right? But he's never going to say anything like that because that requires men to take accountability, not women.
Also, I don't think Dobson's really hearing that in counseling, in part because I don't think he wants to hear it and we hear what we want to hear. And two, because I don't think women are telling him that because he is not a neutral player in this.
Right. I'd love to be a fly on the wall for one of his actual sessions.
I feel like it would just be a very frustrating experience.
Yeah, true.
Part 2, Dobson lore. What I have found most interesting about these videos are the pieces of the real Dobson that we get from them. The actual contents of these lectures are bad and boring, larger than ways we've talked about before. So in this section, let's talk about what we learn about Dobson himself through these videos. Not to bury the lead, what I've learned is that Dobson needs to project strength, humility, and confidence to cover his insecurity and narcissism. So first, let's talk about how Dobson so desperately wants to be seen. An idea that we introduced in our last episode is in full bloom here. Dobson acts like a D-tier Johnny Carson.
I think if we put our priorities in place, that the rest of it will fall into place. And you have to decide how to do that. Maybe you need a sign like I saw on an estate out there in Los Angeles that said, no admittance, admittance by appointment only, no appointments. Another woman said, I finally got it all together, but I can't remember where I left it. Folks, I collect signs. It's just one of my collections. Some people collect stamps and coins and other things. I collect signs, and I find them fascinating because signs like that tell you something about the people who write them, and that's kind of an interest of mine. So if you have any signs like that, I wish you'd give them to me. I think of all my signs, my favorite one is a sign that appears on a wire fence around a convent in Santa Monica, California, which says, absolutely no trespassing. Trespassers will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Signed, Sisters of Mercy. I saw a little card the other day. In fact, I've got it, and it's a little card that is designed for you to hand to someone in an airport who's blowing smoke on you. Okay? It says, I dip snuff. If you won't blow your smoke on me, I won't spit on you.
Okay. What is this even about?
Folks, there's a world of signs in the post office. Have you seen them? Man, there's all kinds of signs in the post office. I just love to go in there and browse around. I know they think I'm crazy. On the door of the post office, it says, no dogs allowed, and in little letters underneath it, it says, except seeing eye dogs, right? Who's that written for? A blind man can't see it, and a dog can't read it. There is also on the bulletin board in the post office there a sign that says, it is a federal offense to assault a postal employee. And in little letters underneath it says, while he's on duty. You can kill him on his own time, you see. All right, numbers 3 and 4.
The James Dobson Comedy Hour. What was that even about? Why was he even saying all that?
That was at the end of number 2, Fatigue and Time Pressure. That was shortly after him saying, I know what it's like to be a mom. It's part of the same.
Why?
He's just doing bits. He's doing bits, even when not appropriate, even about really offensive things, and content warning about this next one. It's short, but oh my God.
Do you think he has a live, laugh, love sign?
I don't think he finds it funny enough.
Do you think he has a lake house with a bunch of those terrible lake house signs?
Absolutely.
Like, I don't like to skinny dip because I'm not skinny and I can't dip.
It's hard to slow it down. You've made commitments in advance. How do you slow it down? I do not know. All I know is that it takes the same kind of discipline that any other area of self-control takes. It's like eating. How do you keep from eating too much? How do you keep from gaining weight? How do you keep from getting overweight? You just say, I won't eat it, but I want it. I know, but I must not eat it. It just takes guts. You see. By the way, those of you who have a problem with overweight, I can tell you what the problem is. It's cottage cheese. If you'll notice, nobody but fat folks eat that stuff.
He's just doing bits. And like, not good bits.
First of all, cottage cheese is part of a healthy diet.
Yes.
Second of all, go fuck yourself, James Dobson. That is horrifying. He's just doing fat jokes.
Yes.
He's doing straight up bad stand-up.
Yes. That's the point that I'm trying to make here.
What does that have to do with anything?
It doesn't. Neither did the signs.
None of, has nothing, now here, we don't have time for 8, 9, and 10 because I just did 20 minutes of bad stand-up.
Exactly. The reason that I put all of those bits about the sign in one super long unedited clip, that's what he prioritizes, not the thing people theoretically paid money to see him talk about. He wants to be seen as like a funny, witty kind of guy. The fact that he theoretically has important things to say is secondary.
Well, anyone who's doing it's like, it's not like he's so passionate about parenting. He wants a stage. He wants an audience. Like,
correct.
That's what they all want.
The point of this section, what I've really experienced in watching all these videos, is the incredibly strong disconnection between who James Dobson wants to be seen as and who James Dobson is.
Yeah.
Also, not for nothing, there's a tendency for conservative media personalities to be failed mainstream media personalities. Ben Shapiro famously tried to write a screenplay that sucked and got bitter when no one wanted to produce it, and then became the Ben Shapiro that we know and loathe today. Perhaps we'd all be better off if Dobson tried to be a stand-up comic and then failed at that, because he clearly would fail at that. Although I do think he took himself way too seriously to make that happen.
You know who else failed at their first dream? Hitler.
And that's our Hitler reference for the episode, everybody. When talking about financial pressures, Dobson says this.
And when Dare to Discipline came out in 1970 and is now sold over 1 million copies, because of that, I have tasted most of the things that Americans hunger for. Now, I am not wealthy, and I don't want to be wealthy. I don't have any desire to be wealthy. I never will be wealthy. God won't let me be wealthy. It's just not in the cards for me to be wealthy.
He was wealthy, though, wasn't he?
Yes!
He had all this stuff.
It simply doesn't pass the smell test. You don't want to be rich and famous, James Dobson?
God won't let me.
God won't let me be wealthy. Even at this point, he was successful enough to kickstart his whole company focused on the family. The lectures themselves feel like a cash grab, let alone his bibliography. He's so obviously motivated by money. It feels almost like gaslighting for me to have to be like, no, he cares about money. He wants to be rich.
We have to be able to know his net worth.
It's not as much as you would think. According to Google, what do you think his net worth was?
I don't know.
$5 million.
Okay, that's wealthy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's wealthier than me.
I believe Dobson believes he wasn't motivated by money, but what Dobson was motivated by was power.
Yes.
And a way to get power is money.
I don't think Dobson was I want to be rich. I think Dobson was, I want to be loved.
Yes.
Because Myrtle wouldn't give it up. And I think that that's what a lot of comedians want. No offense, comedians. You're great. But comedians are some of the saddest, most desperate people in the world.
Yes.
I mean, no offense. You're great. Let's cut that.
But doctor, I am the clown.
Jake, how do you not know like who Brad Pitt is, but you know like some of these like old things? I think he just wanted like that. You see him light up every time they laugh at one of his dumb jokes.
Yes.
Meanwhile, he's like, pay for my lecture about what women want at 8, 9, and 10. Now back to the jokes.
Yes. This is him projecting humility. This is him saying, perceive me in this way. For the last part of this section, at least, Dobson ends the video and the series on what he wants his legacy to be.
Oh.
And this is what I want to summarize my life, and I just hope that I can live up to it. I have concluded that the accumulation of wealth, even if I could achieve it, is an insufficient reason for living. When I reach the end of my days, a moment or two from now, I must look backward on something more meaningful than the pursuit of houses and land and machines and stocks and bonds, nor is fame of any lasting benefit. I will consider my earthly existence to have been wasted unless I can recall a loving family, a consistent investment in the lives of people, and an earnest attempt to serve the God who made me. And nothing else makes much sense. And that's what I came to San Antonio to talk to you all about.
Shut up, James Dobson.
No, it's not. But I think that is like the most clear distillation of how James Dobson wants to be perceived. A loving family, consistent investment in the lives of people, and an earnest attempt to serve the God who made me. And I bet he died feeling like he did that. Mm-hmm. One of the tragedies of life is accepting that sometimes, or often, bad people don't face consequences. Here's what I'd write on his tombstone, for what it's worth. My joke answer is, his reign of terror is over. The other option is, here lies James Dobson. He made the world worse by hurting countless people in the name of God. His whole speech doesn't fit on a tombstone, but mine does.
Mm-hmm. What do you want on your tombstone?
I don't care.
Like that's what you want, the words?
No, I don't. I don't see
most depressing tombstone in the world.
I've never really thought about it.
Yeah. I'm not probably going to have a tombstone, so I haven't thought about it either. But I think if you're going to have a tombstone and people are going to walk around in the graveyard and see it, it should be something good. So I thought it should be something kind of funny.
In this bit, he also ends with a bit. After all of this beautiful prose about how what his dad wanted, he said that his mom said she wants on her tombstone, I told you I was sick.
Oh my God.
Always doing bits.
Always doing bits.
So those 3 clips are what Dobson wants people to think about him, how he wants to think about himself. Notably, those are all scripted moments. That is part of the prepared remarks. Moments of authenticity away from the script are more revealing to me about who he actually is and how he actually views himself. I'm going to play this clip. It's a follow-up from something we talked about in our last episode. And there's 2 clips edited together. One literally from the very beginning of the episode. Another is about 10 minutes in.
Folks, please don't yawn at me. I don't think I can stand it if you yawn at me. If you yawn at me, I'm going to ask you to stand up and explain why. If you feel like you just can't help it, sometimes through sheer fatigue, you just can't help it. And if a yawn is coming up your throat and there's nothing that you can do with it and you just can't escape it, the least thing you can do for me is give me a social yawn. Okay, you know what that is? That's where you grit your teeth and you hold your breath and you squeeze it out your eyes. The 1970s are already called, I just saw a yawn, folks, and excuse me, I lost my whole train of thought. The 1970s have already been called an age of depression, particularly with regard to women.
That is consistent to me. with the picture painted of Dobson throughout the series. An insecure little bitch. It also helps me understand why he was so consistent in his beliefs. He was sanctified and perfect. He needs to feel that way. If anyone finds him boring, if anyone's tired, it gets misattributed as bored. That is such a blow to him that he loses his whole train of thought. Embracing imperfections and continual growth can be painful, but it's also freeing. Mm-hmm. It's honest. We are supposed to grow and change. Our opinions are too. I couldn't point you to anything throughout any of the books that we've read that shows that Dobson has learned basically anything after age like 18. Nothing meaningful. Insecurity is a hell of a drug. It keeps you stagnant and afraid. And afraid is probably the best word I found to describe Dobson.
Insecurity also creates high control behavior.
Yes.
Don't yawn. I saw you yawning. You're going to get called out and pointed at if you yawn at me. Even though I'm framing this as a joke, it's real, right?
Mm-hmm.
And everyone needs to follow this behavior I'm establishing because of my own insecurity.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I said narcissism before. There's like a clinical definition. I never met him. I cannot clinically assess him. It's not a diagnosis. But there's a self-centeredness to this. And also, insecurity generally, especially social anxiety, can be a really self-centered thing. It's really freeing to know that most people don't care that much. Most people aren't thinking about you that much. If someone's yawning in the audience of a presentation you're giving, maybe they're bored.
I know.
Maybe they're tired. Just block it out, dude. Whatever.
Do you ever think about all the people you saw yesterday and try to remember what any of them were wearing? Think about what you had for lunch last Tuesday, right? Like, so much stuff is insignificant. No one is paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
No one cares. I
Even
know that sounds depressing, but it's actually so freeing.
I find it to be freeing. I've said before, I think I've said it on the show, one of the best experiences that I ever had in undergrad was walking around my campus in full drag at night. I looked awful. I was a goblin. I was trash. And like 2 people noticed me, and one of them ended up being my friend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I'm a fat person who walks through the world with an additional 2 very visible chronic conditions.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I've had people be assholes or be too curious or be too blunt or whatever. But for the most part, people don't care. And that's strangers. The people in my life don't, I think, care at all.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say like, oh, that's what this is. And then they're like, okay. And then they don't, I think, even notice it anymore. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's very freeing just to be like, yeah.
Dobson was so afraid and truly made it everyone else's problem.
Yeah, that's right.
Brooke, we have reached the end of this video and the discussion of the focus on the family film series as a whole.
Oh, yay.
And good riddance.
Good riddance.
What do you think about these videos? What about these lectures?
Turds.
Yes. We got into this a little bit last time with our very special guest, Josh, but I want to talk about like broader takeaways and a little bit of more of a meta thing. Because the content of this is just the same as the books by and large, it's been a very meta experience for me. One, it's interesting that Dare Discipline and Hide or Seek, later called Building Confidence in Your Child, didn't get their own movies. They were his first 2 books, but they're referenced in the credits. They are the only ones that didn't get their own.
Wait, Dare to Discipline Ka-Chow, and what was the other one?
Hide or Seek, which we talked about under the republished Child, Building Confidence in Your Child.
So his child rearing books, aside from The Strong-Willed Child, didn't get covered in his parenting lecture series.
I find that really interesting.
Yeah. Okay.
What do you make of that?
I don't know. Is there a lot of overlap between Dare to Discipline and Strong-Willed Child?
So the way that I've thought about it is that Dare to Discipline is kind of, Ka-Chow is almost his like proof of concept of like, I am a person who cares about parenting. And now that I have the in, let me explain all the ways that I care about it. There's not a ton of overlap with The Strong-Willed Child, other than that Dobson cares a lot about physically abusing children. But the whole concept of The Strong-Willed Child is kind of its own thing, and he spends most of the book trying to show how he's correct to categorize kids that way. Also, the books here, and Dare to Discipline, Ka-Chow, and Hide or Seek, are all Dobson really ever had to say.
Yeah.
He publishes other books, of course, we've talked about a lot of them, but they're generally just variations on themes here. In the other books, he repeats many of the same anecdotes and many of the same bits. He hits many of the same talking points. In Bringing Up Boys, for instance, there's a lot of things mentioned in Preparing for Adolescence and Christian Fathering. He goes into more detail, especially around his weird fixation on gay people and how you're gay because you didn't see your dad's penis enough. But it's not really adding anything to the conversation, other than dick jokes, which are not intentional bits on his end. Honestly, the main thing that I see in him as an evolution is becoming more and more explicitly political. The one book of his that we've talked about that really stands out as meaningfully different is Marriage Under Fire, which I don't know if you remember anything about Marriage Under Fire. I don't know why you would.
Zero.
Yeah. It was a weird screed about why gays shouldn't marry. It was like this big.
Yeah, and had a target on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that feels like a meaningful departure from his normal oeuvre. And it's just about being political. Importantly, these were filmed in 1978. After this video series, he would be a part of the Reagan administration. He would found the Family Research Councils, the Alliance Defending Freedom. Focus on the Family would become the main religious wing of the Republican Party. And I don't know if you've heard about this, but Dobson would interview a guy named Ted Bundy.
What? Who?
Don't worry about him. We'll talk about it at some point. The seeds for this were obviously already there. We've talked about how his rant of women's liberation tells women that being a stay-at-home mom is demeaning is in this video. But his focus shifts from creating an authoritarian household to creating an authoritarian government, and that hits pretty hard. People weren't conforming enough just to his bad Johnny Carson bits, so he had to shape the entire United States government to make it happen. The family advice just serves to launder his reputation. The politics of austerity that defined the Reagan administration, and also global trends around the world like Margaret Thatcher, that we are still dealing with today, are deeply intertwined with Dobson's values around hyper-individualism, capitalism as an unquestioned good, patriarchy, etc. I will still get pushback from people, usually online, when I shit-talk Mr. Dabadook's political engagement. Because people say, well, I grew up with advice, and I turned out great. Which is beside the point. I'm talking about his political influence, but also his parenting advice sucked too.
Also, that argument isn't an argument.
No.
Like, okay, great. But we're talking about all of the people who've suffered because of this advice.
Yes.
That's like the same argument as like, well, I didn't find it offensive, so it's not offensive.
Not for nothing. Most of the people who say, I turned out fine, did not turn out fine.
Yeah, why are you commenting on some blog you don't even listen to?
Yeah.
Yeah. Beat it.
Leaving you 1-star reviews on Apple Podcasts.
Ew. You did not turn out great. Not you.
Oh.
The person. No, you turned out really great.
I turned out fine. I see these videos and these books as the first chapter of James Dobson's career. All of the things he would later say and do, I think, can be traced back to this time. And he didn't do it particularly well. I think this is another point that I've tried to emphasize. Beyond my moral, intellectual, academic, structural disagreements with Dobson, which is a big caveat, but put all that aside, he's not good at presenting ideas. He's so egotistical and self-centered and insecure that it actually meaningfully detracts from the things that he's trying to say, even though I disagree with those things that he's trying to say. He gets in his own way so much because he's not good at this.
Yeah, but he's figured something out, which is that when you don't have faith in the thing that you're talking about, you can do 10 minutes of bits where everyone gets laughing, especially if they've been there all day and they're tired. And then that's what they kind of take away is like, that was fun, right? Mm-hmm. Or he's dynamic or whatever, right? He's kind of figured out how to pad his boring information.
Yeah. By and large, well, I found myself really seeing through the veneer that he projects. I think a lot of people just went with it, right? I think a lot of the people in this audience do see Dobson as a humble guy with a lot of common sense, even if it goes against mainstream wisdom. The things that he wanted to project are the things that people bought up. Dobson's legacy after these videos is a case study in the natural consequences of his belief system. If his hierarchies are the right ones that must be fought for against Satan, using the entire political apparatus of the United States almost makes sense. Ignoring those who disagree with you, all the strong-willed children, is a necessity. and those who are too obstinate deserve to be punished. I don't like this guy.
What?
And I will continue to hate him even though he has passed. Because unfortunately, his ideas and legacy live on. But at least now we have a real opportunity to meaningfully deconstruct that legacy. He didn't face the justice he deserved, and that sucks, but we can work to ensure that his ideas, his videos, and his books end up in the garbage pail of history where they rightfully belong. I fucking hate James Dobson.
I'm coming around to him.
Interesting. Was it the fat jokes that really brought you in?
The fat jokes really won me over.
The cottage cheese.
Cottage cheese is good. I hate his guts.
That's all that I have.
Well, I hope you all enjoyed the video series of I Hate James Dobson's books, and we never have to watch them again. And we're done talking about James Dobson forever now. Yay!
Uh-huh. That's true. Next time we are taking a break from Dobson.
Ooh.
Actually, is that true? It will be June, so we might not be taking a break from Dobson. Fuck.
We got to do our Pride series.
I have a specific thing planned for Pride. There's a non-Dobson book that I'm reading that I'm excited to talk about because I hate in very low stakes ways. But we will probably talk about James Dobson next time soon still. Ugh, that sucks. And of course, this show would not be possible without the support of our incredible patrons. So a huge, huge thank you to Aaron H., Ben, Betsy C., Brenda, aka Wrong Brenda, Bunny with a Switchblade, Kiara T., Kaylee Ann, Cardamon, Chad S., Crystalline, Des, Drew, L, Jerry L, Hannah B, Hannah L, Helly R, Jamie B, Jared B, Jen F, Jenna KD, Jennifer A, Joanna, Julie Beth of Tarth, Cami, Carissa, Katie M, Christopher W, Lindsay, Lindsay D, Lyra S, Mara N, Margaret H, Megan, Melodies B and S, MJ Russell 221B, Peter H, Rachel H, Revio 717, Sawyer N, Sean L, Spruce, Stacy, our good friends over at the Worst of All Possible Worlds, Timothy D.N., Tora W., Tyler M., Unwritten Page, and Ray. A huge thank you to all of these certified haters. You are my heroes.
Everybody, please enjoy our outro theme song. I hate James Dobson. I hate James Dobson. I hate James Dobson. I hate him so much. Boop, boop, boop. Bye.
I Hate James Dobson is a product of Red House Media and is a labor of love, spite, written, recorded, edited, and produced by me, Jake. I'm honored to be joined on this journey by my amazing co-host, Brooke. If you're enjoying the show, please consider rating and reviewing it. And if you want to connect with us more, check out our Patreon at patreon.com/IHateJamesDobson. You can find us on YouTube, Instagram, Threads, Reddit, Blue Sky, TikTok, and Facebook at I Hate James Dobson. You can email us at IHateJamesDobson@gmail.com. We have merch available at IHateJamesDobson.printful.me, or, if all of that's too much, simply go to IHateJamesDobson.com to find everything about the show. Our theme music is by Moonbase, and the song is called Trendsetter. Special thanks, as always, to Drew, Lindsay, DJ, Jack, Gary, and Karina. And thank you, reader, for enjoying our show.